there, my name is Jessica Kinsella, and this little girl, her name is Susie, and she's just trying to creep forward. So what are we doing today? Yep, you're good. So what are we doing? Today I thought I would talk to you about, this is her second saddling, and it went smooth, and I just, again, like I hardly have a camera person here with me, and before, and it's after I do something cool that I think about it. So anyway, I'll try to recreate kind of what we did, but what are some tools you need for that first saddling? And I don't generally have a round pen. This is not a round pen, this is a square, weird kind of pen. And so what do you need for that? It's a lot different than what you would need for a round pen, and maybe not all of us are fortunate enough to have a round pen, but we have babies to start, or you don't want to send them away or something. Or you get someone like me out who is working with what I have available. So they do have to be better when you just have them on the line, like a lunge line, compared to a round pen, because that's such a cool tool. So what do they first need to be able to do before you get the saddle? So first I have my flag here, my Fun with flag. And so I'm not going to do a lot because I don't really want to turn into a rodeo. Like, she's pretty good. But this is only the second time the saddle has been on her, and the first time it was very brief. But have we had a buck? No. So either way, what do we have first? First we get them good with the flag touching their back, and then you have to have the flag on the other side going around. So say that's the horse underneath the flag, so they have to be able to see what that is. They have to be able to yield very, very well when you don't have a round pen. So it's all different once you put a saddle on there. But they have to be able to come off of that halter and be able to yield to you. So you have to go backwards. Nice. And so backwards is a side to side. It's not pulling them backwards because you're not going to win that battle. And making sure they come up off that halter. Then you have to be able to have their hind be able to move. So you actually have to have a hind to untrack. So you have some brakes. So I will demonstrate, hopefully. So let's see if we can get over here a little bit. Come on there, Susie. So she's not very great at it right now because the saddle is new to her. But you see how she kind of grabs her bum? So I have taught her, though, to roll her hind around, and see how she kind of got a little bit nicer there? To roll that hind over her front to untrack that hind. And now they have to be really, really good at that. So I'm going to just keep her off of me a little bit here. So she jumps ahead, I don't need her to jump on me. She can hang out there. She would like some comfort from me, but she can hang out by herself. There's a lift. So we have to have that good so that when you chuck that saddle on, you have something to fall back on. So that had to be good before you got the saddle, because if it's not good without the saddle, it's going to be garbage with the saddle, because with the saddle, it's a whole new ball game. So everything before your first ride, you have to do the groundwork again, and it probably goes quicker, but you have to do the groundwork again to get it as good as it was without the saddle. So then, what else do I do to prepare her for the saddle? I get her up onto the fence and I see if she can move herself over. So that's very important. She wasn't very good at that, so that took us a while. So where she could just hang out and I could sit on her off the fence to get her ready for that weight. Then we put a rope around her, so like a flank strap, to show her that the answer is not to buck. So it's very different than like a bucking horse. A bucking horse, you put that flank strap on, and they get that release once it's bucked off, yes? So then when I do it, again, your horse has to be able to, you have to have quite a bit of control when you're doing it with a, with a rope in one hand and then your halter lead in the other hand, so you don't like get your hands ripped off or anything. So then for us to get them to not buck, I put the rope around and I start at the front cinch and then I work it back to their flank. And so I only release though when they take a nice calm step, or a step that's not bucking, say. So then once they get to not buck, then you work it down to a calm step. So their release is when they don't buck. So it shows them that they don't need to buck, that bucking's not an answer. So could you imagine too, if you don't do that, then you stung that back cinch up. That's a lot of reason why a lot of horses will buck, because they're not used to that pressure back there. But then also, what if that little piece of leather between the two cinches breaks? What if that happens? And then your back cinch gets going and it's back up in their flank and they're not used to that and they think the answer is to buck. Well, you're going to have a rodeo. So that's all of the things that I do to make sure that these horses are ready before I put that saddle on. especially without a round pen, they can't really careen around here like in a panic, right? I have to have them pretty calm about it. So she, like I said, this is her second saddling, and she was pretty good about it. But she's a pretty good little mare. But she has to be able to move this hind around. She's got a little bit tight there. She's a little bit tight there. That's nicer. So we're going to be able to roll that hind over. And then you can work that into being a bit of a lunge again. But first they have to be really good at that. So when I first put the saddle on, that back cinch grabbed her, and so she scurried around pretty quick. But I was still able to roll that hind around and really try to untrack her so she didn't get going too crazy. We didn't have a rodeo. So that's all the steps that I do before I have the first saddling happen. And then they turn out to be not much of a rodeo at all, where it's just easy, cool, and casual. And so too, when I saddle them, they have to be able to stand. Like, I don't hold them. I mean, like, very loosely. Like, I just have the rope near me. But they have to be able to stand, because if they can't stand to be saddled, they're probably not going to do well with it moving on their back. And so that's kind of where the flag comes in, and like sitting on top of them so that we can move all this stuff. So then the sound, I don't want to do it with the camera because it'll be a longer video than I anticipate. But then you have to do the flag on the saddle and make sure they're used to that sound, because it's going to be a different sound for them. And then we get on, because we don't want to get on without all this stuff prepared. Either way, I hope that helps and show you that you can do it without a round pen. It just takes a little bit longer because your horse has to be a little bit better before you do all this stuff. Anyway, I'll talk to you soon.